I'm Margaret Ann Windsor, and I resorted to using the social media because I can't get the law to work for me. It works against me. I'm Margaret Windsor, and I was kidnapped in 41 at age 2, born in 39, brought to Moulton, Alabama, and given the name of a twin, Peggy Ann Dempsey, married at Childers. I still have to use that name. I use the name Peggy Ann Childers. I found out about my real name and birth in 83 when it was after, actually, I was flown to Larry Flint's. This article was written in April of 84. In that article, he says I knew who was responsible for his shooting in Atlanta, or near Atlanta, in Lawrenceville. I was writing a medical malpractice book back then, 76 till April Fool's Day of 80, when they put antifreeze in me, and I should have died. But Mr. Flint was shot in Lawrenceville, March the 6th of 78. Had a letter from the FBI, June the 23rd of 79. And then a few things I had, including my sons, Mark and Scott, were gone, April Fool's Day of 80. I was illegal. I should have died. I was taken across the state line back to Huntsville, Alabama, by Dempsey, the mother of these twins, and she killed them, by the way. This is Carl, and this is his death certificate. I'm not going to show any more about that, of the state of Alabama. And I did write the district attorney there a couple of times, and you could notice the date on there, too. And that did me no good. It's like I'm not going to say this about him, but when I call back, this is where I grew up and finished high school and worked the last couple of years and took care of this woman that killed her twins. She died, had a good place to live. They kept me homeless, bag lady, living on top of the Appalachian Trail and freezing and everything. And antifreeze wasn't the only thing they've done. And so that's why I'm going to skip. I wrote about mind control. The person that shot Larry Flint was programmed to kill his attorney and shoot Mr. Flint. And these are done in patterns, and this is all I'm going to say. I've put this up before because I want to get to this, the real reason I'm on here today. This is my sons Mark and Scott, me a long time ago. They're heirs to the crown after me. I'm Victoria II. And this is a mind control murder, one of the many that's deliberately done in patterns and can be proven. It's the mass shootings at Tucson, Arizona. By the way, the Aurora, Colorado is one of them, too. This is Mark Kelly. He's a twin to Scott Kelly. That's my son's name, and they're using the twin. And Gabby Gifford, his wife, Mark Kelly's wife, they're both astronaut, Mark and Scott, and Kelly. And she was a U.S. Congresswoman. I ran, and of course I didn't get it. But there's a lot more in the names that were shot, and it gets really something else. But anyway, I wanted to, the reason I want to show my mom's sister real quick, because I have a picture of my mom. They have my mom. This is George O'Keeffe, the artist, American. That my mom is Claudia Ruth O'Keeffe, her sister, legally wed to my father, Edward VIII, illegally forced out. I was born in 39. This is a double that married Wallace Simpson. So that whole thing was a terrific lie and take down of my dad. So Elizabeth and her father and her brood have lived a really good life off of me, off of the Brits. And this is my uncle, Elizabeth's father. This is George, the illegal six, that you don't hear any of the truth about. This is in 39. He's with Roosevelt. And Roosevelt appointed Joe Kennedy ambassador during that time. So JFK and his older brother got in on it. I don't know. My uncle helped kidnap me with the New World Order, the Rockefellers, Rothschilds, Kennedy, etc. So he took down his own brother, and 99-year seal put on my birth, and I am the legal heir. What I wanted to get to here is the fact that, I mean, I got shut down after I was out at Larry Flint's also. He furnished a car for a year, and then I had to turn it back in, and I've never heard from Mr. Flint since that time. The thing is that the illness I have, and it's horrific. It's very painful. I'm allergic to chemicals. I have an immune disorder. And the only way to solve it is really, I do okay outside, or I would do okay anywhere I have except where I live, because my illness has been used against me. Law enforcement gets things on people, and they drop the charges or lessen the charges for what those people participate in doing to me, which is assaulting. They're in conspiracy, fraud, you name it. It's a list. How are you going to go back and charge all of them if ever it's done? And that's the reason I want to say this here. My immune system attacks itself if I'm around toxic fumes, especially in a closed-in area like where you live, and it's force-fed through the vents and the air conditioning. And in my case, more than once, because it's done at a high level. It's who I am. It's done at a high level. They come in, you've got I'm just going to use this as an example. The Patels and the Shaws own everything around here, motels just about. Roanoke, they own communication centers, gas stations, Roanoke and Travel, Delville, where the interstate goes through 81. So they become quite wealthy, and I'm going to say this if I can get it on the tape. Back in November of 95, my job has been shut down. I was living on the Appalachian Trail, freezing, starving, and everybody around here knew it. They still know, and things haven't changed at all. But I did a live-in, and I got enough money saved, and I went to the Budget Inn, which is owned by the Patels. And I always tell people I'm allergic to chemicals, as if they didn't know around here. And I've tried to leave, and the long arm of the law, I end up coming back. So I'd paid a month's rent, and this has happened more than once. Pay a month's rent or a week, and the next day I'm out because they've soaked me in chemicals. There's nowhere to go with it. On this occasion, the Budget Inn. A couple of days later, I'd paid for the month of November, and I mean, I'd had it rough. And a couple of days later, he knocks at the door and says they're going to renovate in my room, and I call the cops. Well, the cop that came was going to arrest me, and at least he put my hands behind me, and I can't remember if he clasped. But if you know the background on what has happened to me, you'll understand that, yeah, they'll do it. They did it. But after they left, they had no, I mean, I've paid my rent. I've done nothing. Ask them. You wouldn't force someone, well, you might need. You'd rent them a room, a customer, a tenant, and then you'd rent them a room and force them to stay in there with a bee if they're allergic to bees. And you put a hive in there, or one or two, somebody thinks that you're ludicrous, or they're ludicrous. That's not what happens. I can't complain, or they'll call it crazy. And I even started putting Carl Barton's name. He's a retired state trooper whose wife took me to here after fuel had been poured on my tent, where they were hosts, and I was legal and everything. And I have to keep saying that. I haven't committed a crime, and this is going to go off. This is Affordable Corporate Suites, and here, this is where the state trooper, his wife took me and paid the security deposit with a credit card, and I paid 17 months in hell while Lance Cooperman is Jewish, and he has become quite wealthy around here, like the Patels. They own just about everything around here, and the Shaws. And this I got a letter from, and remember, they soaked me in chemicals. They would come in and soak the bedding when I